Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second open mic of the century. We have H.R. Freud, we have Dawn Haußettler, Teratoma Jones, the Mulkmen, Dad, PolPotsnPans, Frank, or the real Scrummy Thumbs, and Rotifer. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not, but that's okay. First off, we have Dad, who is currently singing in his car. Dad, can you please?
That was fucking hilarious. Some guy in the parking lot just came up to my car and he's like, you perform, bruv. You perform in the guitar." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, play me the music. I want to sing." And I was like, "Okay." And I played him my song and he was like, "Oh, God, oh wow, that's a beautiful piece. I used to sing." And I'm like, "Yes, I gotta perform."
Why didn't you let him on, man? That's perfect. Another surprise guest.
He should have paid you.
Oh, man.
Because I didn't have time to.
I want to hear parking lot guy.
His voice was better than mine. I couldn't let him upstage me.
Who's better?
Oh
He had
no,
to go.
he's hot.
We got to kill him.
He's hot. Dad, do you think you're ready to play for us?
I am. I'm always ready. I'm gonna have to close the doors of my car and hope that I don't die. But I'm gonna put my whole heart into it.
Don't put your whole heart. You need that to breathe.
I'll put in like a good amount of
I
my
breathe
heart
in
into
my
it.
heart. Let's say 90%. 90% is good.
Breathing in the heart. Breathing in the
That's
soul.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Ever since I saw you, I knew just what we would be. You're my casual acquaintance, yeah. You make small talk with me. I sometimes see you in the hallway. You look at me, I look at you. And then we look away awkwardly, 'cause that's what casual acquaintances do. 'Cause that's what casual acquaintances do. Yeah.
Oh yeah! Good job!
That was beautiful.
I got a call from my girlfriend right in the middle of performing. I should have set my phone to it. I should have set my phone to a do not disturb or something.
Call from your girlfriend or your casual
So
acquaintance.
that's what it was.
No.
Like,
She goes to another school. You probably wouldn't know who she is.
She's from Canada.
She goes to another school. She's
from Australia.
I flew to Canada. Saw her on a billboard.
Look at how many people came out.
That was beautiful, Father.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you.
I feel honored to be here, Dad. That was amazing.
Bless you all.
It made me cry from every orifice.
I'm so touched.
Now I can leave my car and be assured that I won't die.
Well, never know.
Godspeed, you sweating emperor.
This is the most people I've seen in a voice call.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's
Hell yeah. Well, just scroll up for like 3 seconds to see all of them.
Yeah, big turnout. I thought I'd be able to, like, take a picture of everyone, but there's no chance.
This is how big was it the last time? This is huge. It's like more people than people.
We had maybe 10 people.
This is at least 3 times bigger.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'll try to make a good show for you guys when I go on. No, don't go.
I hear drumsticks.
It's ready to click.
That's Tom. Tom, shut the fuck up!
Oh, the Tom plays the drums. How?
No! He doesn't talk much. He talks through drums.
Tom, he plays the drums. He plays it left hand.
I'm gonna count these.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have to the stage a very good performer that we did not get to get last time. Stage, a round of applause, H.R. Freud!
That's my man. That's my guy.
I love you, Freud.
We're gonna go over to the stage right now. Come on in. Go. Go. go to the lobby to applause. Everybody in the lobby right now! Right now!
Holy
Jesus!
Even in here?
I can't. It's too early for me to be this
Dude,
raw.
is somebody? Please tell me somebody was recording that.
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh
Got our
Jesus.
best
Thank God. Oh fuck.
That was fucking beautiful.
That was sick.
Thank
Jesus
you, Freud.
Christ.
That was fucking. I was so fucking glad I'm here to
We
fucking
need,
do
we
that.
need
I've never seen this many people in one room.
Awesome. Okay, let's go.
We're ready for you.
Okay, let's go. Oh, what's that? You play the guitar? Oh, how wonderful. How marvelous of an achievement. You know how to play the guitar. I bet all the ladies love the touch, the itty-bitty beanie on your noggin. I bet they just drop their panties when you serenade them with your strings and harmonies. I bet your douchebag voice puts them in a world of ecstasy. Oh, I bet it does. I bet. But you, my friend, you are nothing but a poser! A big, stupid poser with no talent and no license to be cool. You, bucko, you got some sort of, what you call it, a lame license. You've got a lame license, a lame-sins, bucko. I can hear your sad, pathetic soul pleading for some expert advice from the man who was just crowned the best at sex in over 40 countries. It's a little secret I don't share often. It's all got to do with God's chosen instrument, the Messiah of melody, the Jesus of harmony, the angel of audio, the Rex of rhythm, the bangin' rock star of blangin' rocks so hard, gotta fuck with this sound, commonly referred to by mere simpletons as the oboe. Now, don't get me wrong, the oboe, it's not a pretty name. Kind of turns you off to the whole, oh, I'm a cool guy, and I gotta be playing something that it sounds so good, it's gotta be banging harder than me. Once you unlock the true potential this instrument has to offer your mere mortal existence as a human fucking being on this fucking planet, I swear to the Lord Jesus and Mary and Joseph, on my grave you'll be revered as a god king for generations. Believe me, when I finally mastered the secret arts of the oboe, there wasn't a day that went by where I wasn't getting it so constantly. All the time, 24/7. My dingy apartment soon became a castle of coitus, a kingdom of coitus. Have you ever seen a line of exotic women that stretches so far into the horizon it seems endless? Well, get ready to see even more than that. Whatever number you're thinking of, it's much smaller than the truth. I bet you're thinking of 10. It's more than... It's not even 11. It all begins with a simple step. What you gotta do, it's simple. Very simple. You grab the oboe with both hands. You take that double reed, and you get it real close to your face. You give it a real strong licking, a tonguing, that would bring a female to her knees, make her purr like a kitten. You need to drop your pants and underoos to your ankles, turn your bare ass to your audience of onlookers, and insert that sloppy, soaking reed into your ass, and you gotta pass wind like never before. I assure you, it's not pleasant. Not the first time. But it grows on you. Oh, it grows on you fast. Soon, you'll be begging for more. You won't be able to stop yourself for getting more of that delicious, ass-penetrating sonnets emanating from your very bottom hole. You won't stop with just one go, because everyone will stick to you like glue. Or like a magnet. They'll be drooling over your skills, cheering and screaming, ripping their hair and genitalia from their very bodies, and trying to shove them into yours, trying to impregnate you, and carry their children. You gotta look out for those ones. But the other ones aren't as bad. You know, they'll go wild, and they'll become much more animal. And the only thing you can do to satiate their new sexual hunger is to get it on, like an oboe in your bum. Get ready to become a living deity, with one oboe in your mouth, dripping from your mouth secretions, and another deep in your ass, blowing foul smells and beautiful music to a crowd of millions. I can't even begin to describe the pleasure. It's hard for me to stay. Very hard. I got a problem. I have a problem. I've got a serious problem. The nightmares, the pain, the nonstop boning. I can't take it much longer. You need to take over. You need to carry on my legacy so that I may die. I no longer want this life. I can't take this. I need you to kill me. I need you to kill me now. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. I need you to rip the oboe. I need you to rip it out of my butt and shove it up yours. That's all I. And then you can stab it through my fucking chest, my beating heart, and let the blood wash over that instrument that cursed me to life. I need you to do this for me, your oboe butt god. I hope you enjoyed that one.
Can you RP a little more and I'll
for the
be
next
the
one.
oboe this?
I expected nothing less from you, Frank. Nothing more, nothing less.
God bless you.
My whole body is flush with some kind of weird heat. I think I need to go see a doctor.
In some areas.
That story made me ovulate.
I'm pretty sure most everyone started ovulating now, so yeah.
Crumbles.
I shrunk 5 feet after hearing that.
I'm gonna remember this, Frank.
My whole body inverted.
I told you it was disturbing.
My center of mass increased beyond that capable of holding my form.
I became a neutron star.
What the fuck did I just perform? I love it.
Oh, am I up now?
You are, my friend.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
You're fucking...
Very well.
Bet you are.
All right.
Good luck.
Yes.
Everyone head over to the stage.
Welcome, everybody. This next one's going to be a little bit saucy, so try to contain yourselves. It's called The Tryst of the Spawn Pool. Zixthier cupped Kvispin's eye stalks in his spiny tendrils. I can't take it anymore. I must have you. Here now, he said, searching for gaps in her carapace. But what will the Brood Council think? She quavered out of her vocal sac. To hell with them, all that matters is us. Her feeding spine spasmed in anticipation, mandibles flinging ecstasy-induced acid to the ground. He gasped them and grasped them in his suckers, the sting of the acid but fuel to his burning desire. His mucous glands pulsated under his skin, easing the entry of his pincers into her digestive folds. She gazed at him longingly and wrapped her eye stalks around his. Slow down. I want to savor every moment. Every second is like heaven. His dorsal thorax vibrated in response. Darling, he blurbled, you're the most beautiful in all of Quamluck. Twilight faded as the air was filled with passion, lust, and bile. That's the Tryst of the Spawn Pool. Now, if you can try and calm yourselves down, take a fan to yourself if you need to. These next two are going to be Irish. This is inspired by Don's proposal. It's 3 words, IRA slam poetry. So I did it. So you think it's time for high tea? The my tea will fall out of our land. It's grand when my Garand puts you in the sand castle walls stacked higher and higher till it falls. I chucky our la my bomb into the crowd. Boom, scream, crash, it's loud. Are we allowed to cry when the fascists die? Why should you care when they breathe our air? Planes overhead, 6 leaders dead. My heart laid bare, foot soldiers tread on the corpse in the core, trample the clover over and over. No more, no more. Chucky our law, kill all the British. For this next one, it's going to be another Irish one from the great Irish author Flann O'Brien. Here we go. Did you ever hear of the atomic theory? Everything, do you see, is composed of small particles of itself, all darting around in arc circles. Figurines far too numerous to mention, and these gentlemen are called atoms. Do you follow me? Now, the atomic theory is a very kind and involved formula, but it can be worked out with the help of good school algebra and graph paper. But if you have a bar of iron, and you hit that bar of iron a number of times with a good cold hammer, some of the atoms from the wire of iron will go into the cold hammer and vice versa. Do you follow me? And that is the atomic theory. Now, would it surprise you to know that the atomic theory is at work in this very parish? With the gross and net result that the people who spend most of their natural lives riding on iron bicycles through the rocky roadsteads of this parish have already got their personalities mixed up with the personalities of their bicycles. This being due to, you see, to an interchange of atoms between themselves and their saddles. Some are even worse than 50% bicycle. The unfortunate postman, I would say, is already at 71%. And I doubt we'll ever get his number down to below 50% again. Now, a man who's already halfway to being a bicycle need not look like a bicycle. He may not, for instance, be a backward-wheeled man, or you can hardly expect him to go handlebars. But you will always recognize someone who has let things go too far, for he will spend an inordinate amount of his life leaning against walls with one elbow. Or you might observe him in the high street there, standing with one foot raised against the edge of the curb. Now, if people can become more than 50% bicycle, what are the bicycles themselves? About this, I will say very little, except have you ever noticed that in bad weather, the way a bicycle managed to get himself into the house, close to the fire, or the pantry maybe, where the food is kept? Now, I will tell you a secret, confidentially. My own grandfather was 83 when we buried him, and for 5 years before that, he was a horse. This was due to the long number of years of his natural life that he spent in the saddle. Now, usually in his old age, he was quiet and harmless enough, grazing away there in the field, but now and again he would go for a smart gallop. Have you ever seen a man on 2 legs galloping? Comical. His old horse Dan was a contrary opinion altogether. And old poor Dan, the horse, gave so much trouble getting into the house at night, committing indictable offences in the daytime, and interfering with young women, that they had to shoot him. But to my mind, it was my grandfather they shot, and the old horse that they buried out there in the cemetery. There are 5 rules to be followed in life. 1. Always carry your repair kit. 2. Never go far without a pump. 3. Always apply the back brake first. 4. Make left turns as much as possible. And 5. Turn everything to your own advantage. Thank you. That's it. That's my set.
Congrats, Paul! You did it!
Oh,
You
yeah.
did it, man!
Yeah, Paul.
You fucking did it!
there being more.
Thank you, thank you.
It's fucking good.
I think I saw that bit about the crab sex in the bullpen a couple months ago. Am I right?
You'd be right.
That's true, that's true. I feel like the narration gives it a bit more sauciness, a little air of sexiness to it.
Dude, I was drenching garlic butter the whole time.
That's actually how it's meant to be experienced.
Yep.
He got the instruction manual.
One hand in the garlic butter.
One hand in my dick.
I'm very sorry to come and go, but I do have to get back to some other preoccupied. Yes.
Goodbye, Paul.
You're gonna go to Red Lobster, aren't you, you dirty fuck?
Thank you.
Joe's Crab Shack. Eh?
You sick fuck, he's going to the bubble.
Oh, I'm gonna need the bib, all right. Alright, see you guys later.
I've got crab.
Bye bye.
Cheers.
Don't get crab.
Right now, we have a surprise that I had not mentioned before.
Oh?
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the wonderful, soothing sounds of fire. For Nasty!
Already dead.
You did great. You did great. No, he's already dead. He's already dead. He's already dead. You did great.
Fear me.
Get a round of applause for Betsy the boxer.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody come on to the stage for Teratoma Jones. Everybody, Teratoma Jones.
Woo woo woo!
Ooh, Teratoma Jones. Are you ready?
Trying.
Oh God, I can't.
I think we got some technical issues.
I think, okay, we're going to play another What's That Sound game. That's what we're going to do. This one's for $5. Woo! All right. Okay, I got it. So for $5, I guess let's put it into the chat.
Wait.
Oh,
Okay, how about now? How about now? Here we are. Here we are.
Here.
Okay,
Oh,
all right,
thank
yeah.
God.
So I turned down the sensitivity all the way instead of all the way up. All right, that's my fault. I accept accountability. I accept responsibility. This is my fault. You guys were talking about noise music. We were talking about noise music. That's important. That's a good thing to talk about. This is a noise set. I make noise music. The thing is, though, there are questions to be answered that are not there yet. Which is like, why is it? Who listens to this? Why? Where does it come from? There's no answers. Sometimes it comes to me in a dream, but that's like a mystery in a mystery. Anyway, my setup right now is I have a bass guitar amp pointed at my phone across the room. My pedals came in 15 minutes ago. They're not pedaling the way they need to pedal. But here we go. We're gonna do it. My first performance, my first song is called "Why Won't People Listen to My Podcast?" Just give me it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming out that way. Don't worry about it. It's coming out that way. Here we are. This is what we call a little bit of that old razzle-dazzle. This is what we call... it's gone. It went away. Hold on. It went away. We need to figure that out. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. It's coming.
Need a couple minutes?
No, it's cool. I got it. No, dude. It's shit, bro.
Shit. All right.
Bro.
Put the gun down.
Bro, chill, dude, relax.
Chill. We're all cool. We're all clumsy here, buddy.
Everything's good here, man. Everything's cool. How you doing?
We're all good. I'm good. Are you good?
You doing good? I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. I don't know.
I'm glad to hear it too.
What's happening here. Hold on. Wait, turn this back on. It's part of the performance. All right, don't worry.
I picked a bad day to quit smoking.
Part of the performance. It's waiting. You wait, and it's better. You know, like I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not there.
No, I'm 100% with you, buddy. I'm with you. This is part of the performance.
It's part of the performance. All right, we understand that. We're all on the same page.
We're all on the same
page right now.
We're on the same book. All in the same book, cool. The same chart, the same map.
It's great. It's great. I don't know why. Wait, hold on. So I have more things to say about noise music, okay? So the thing is, you go to the show, right? And there's all these people, they're all dressed in black, and you're like, wow, would it kill to get a little more color in here? You know what I'm saying? You know,
yeah.
It's like it's cool. It's cool to be multicolored sometimes, you know? Sometimes it's cool to like wear a shirt with tie-dye. No one, oh, there we go. It's okay. I just had the volume knob down. It's okay. So this is my song. This is my performance of Why Won't People Listen to My Podcast? Any ideas on how to go podcast listeners? Fellow podcasters, my friend and I have recently started our own podcast. And got into some discussion on how to advertise. We're going to start on the idea on how to go on podcast. Are there some ways that we can go on podcast? We've shared it with all our friends and families, and we haven't been set it out. We haven't got to make it that we want here. Our podcast grow. Thank you, please help me. Oh God, I just want to have a podcast that's successful. Okay, I changed the tab now. So just hold on. I need a breather. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Part 2. Same song. Still the same song, it's just part 2. Okay. How the heck do I go my podcast audience? Any suggestions for promotion? Oh God, we started a podcast a number of months ago, and we really do the podcasting great. Why do you guys recommend for growing our audience? Any resources you would recommend? Any tools? Really, anything would be great. Thanks so much. Bars. Okay, so, just some notes on this piece. It's inspired by true events. There's all these people out there. Most people have podcasts these days. There's so many out there, and one day we're going to reach critical podcast. I think we're going to have more podcasts than people, and then the whole market falls down. But these people, they caught the tail end of it. They didn't catch the golden pony by the reins when it was running by. So they need to know they're trying to catch up, but they won't. It won't. They're never going to get there. And so it's futility. That's what this song is about. It's about futility. Okay, part 3. Part 3 of this one song. Then there's probably more songs. Maybe a part 4. Okay. I don't get more podcasts for free. I have a podcast for around 2 months now. My numbers started low. They went up, and they're now coming back down again. I am committed to my podcast. There are only 2 episodes a week. I want more listeners. And I'm already on Twitter and on the socials. I was wondering literally to help me get more listeners for free. All right. So here's my commentary. If you want to get podcast listeners for free, just don't do it. It's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. There's so many other things you could do with your time. There's trees and plants and holes. You could dig holes. And at the end of the day, you'll have a hole, and it'll be your hole, and it'll get deeper and deeper. But with the podcast, you're never going to have the same satisfaction. That's just the fact of the matter, all right? I'm speaking from experience. I need it to be understood that I'm speaking from experience here. Okay, part 4, part the last. Why won't people listen to my podcast? Wait, hold on. There we go. What do you think is the best way to grow your podcast? Hey, y'all, I've been working on a podcast with a friend of mine for a couple of months, and we are trying to grow and expand as much as possible. But the only one had a social media following. One of people recommended to him on spending the week on your podcast and growing your audience. So, I know that's a lot to digest. I'm going to let that sit in for a minute, a little sink in. I need a beverage. I need my Juul. I quit smoking recently, so I'm Juuling. I spend so much money on Juul pods, but I won't get the refillable ones. I fucking refuse, all right? People tell me to get the refillable ones. I'm not going to do it, okay? I don't trust them. Look at what they did to those teens. Those damn teens up to it again, and then they get the popcorn lung. God, that's a good beer. Miller High Life. Good beer. Good food price. Here, just gets you where you want to be. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Oh. Okay. All right. It's a second song. Probably last song. No one wants to listen to shit. I know. No one does. That's the secret of noise music, people. No one wants to be there. They want to be seen there, but they don't want to be there. It's how it goes. That's the cycle. That's the world. Anyway, second song. Last song. So this was partially a request. It's Wayne. You have a fish for your icon. You sent me this file, and we're gonna use it as a backing. We're gonna use it as a backing for a special something dear. So be happy about this because something very special happened. Just the other day, Friday. Chad Kroger, Nickelback's lead singer, he turned 45. 45th Chad-iversary. It's never gonna happen again. Yeah. you weren't celebrating, you fucked up, but we can celebrate now afterwards, just a little bit. We can celebrate with a melody, something to go along with the chat-iversary. So let me move some buttons. Let me just move some buttons real quick. Let me plug some stuff in. This is Rockstar. You know Rockstar. Everyone knows Rockstar. You know, it's a good one. It's a good song. And unfortunately, there's just, you know, it's not treated. Chad doesn't get the respect he deserves. That's what I'm trying to say right now. And I'm just upset. I'm upset that we're there for this in this world. Oh my God. Oh my God. There it is. Okay, we're good. We're good. All's good. All's good. Here we go. We're starting that. We're starting a little bit of this. We're starting a little bit of that business. We're gonna plug that back in. And I'm never gonna win. If I can turn out, that's the way I want it to be. Tell me what you want. I want to tell you. On an episode of and now you know I get my second off. And I get my stuff. Big up for next one's beauty. You know, we're kidding. And come on, they got two winners. They got six with a red no minute. So they're trying to go. I come at 37,000 feet. In there. Turn that on, turn that. There we go. There we go, on the bar. There we go, on the bar. On the bar, on the bar. My own car, all of it go loud. Come with the chair, okay, it's time for me. So how you gonna do it? I'm gonna say this live for a 14th day. I need to come by here and say my name. Because we all just want to be this rock stars. And living out on 130, 15 times. And don't come easy. And you know it's not 15 because you don't eat. We're not gonna eat. We're not gonna eat here. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh. Okay. That's it. I'm wearing a sweater. I'm rolling around. It's very warm. It's not warm outside. It's warm in my house. I'm rolling around. I'm drinking too much. I'm drooling too hard. That's all I got. That's all I got. Okay. Yeah. That's enough. That's enough.
Wonderful.
Of that.
Well, everybody go to the lobby. This man, the round of applause he deserves. Everybody go into the lobby.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so beautiful.
If I could please have your attention, please.
I mean, it sounds good.
That's going to be on stage next. It is a wonderful person who I think it was a very funny voice. We have Rotifer. Rotifer, please come up onto the stage. Rotifer.
Hello, and today we discuss a subject that is near and dear to my heart. Garfield's Fun Fest is a complex and intellectually stimulating game that is vastly unappreciated by modern audiences. The game greets you with an image of Garfield and his similarly feline significant other, Arlene, dancing. An important thing to note here is the look that they give the viewer. On first glance, it might seem like a smile, but when you look closer, it doesn't really it doesn't really portray any kind of emotion. It's just blank. This may seem strange at first, but notice how the confetti is moving in the background. This isn't just a snapshot, a photograph. This is a living, breathing world in which these beings are frozen. Frozen so long that they've just simply stopped thinking. You might be wondering why they added something like this into the game. Well, the frozen state of these cartoon characters, these cats, represents how Jim Davis, he's stuck doing the same jokes over and over again. He's kind of like stuck in time himself, essentially. And since Jim Davis was obviously involved in the game, I think he himself had something to do with it. It's a cry for help. Now, looking on the bottom half of the DS screen, you can see a multitude of these Garfield faces. Very, very zany, very funny. But something to, again, another thing that you should keep in mind here is that these aren't really normal expressions. They're strange. When you look at them, you can't really decipher the emotion they're supposed to represent. Sure, there may be a smiling one with sunglasses, but he's, in a weird way, he doesn't really emote very much. There's also one with a gaping mouth, and this is one of the weirdest ones. His mouth is just gaping. Sorry for the interruption. Anyway, another one is him in some kind of sombrero, Garfield in sombrero or something like that, and he's just staring straight into the camera. And then there's another one where he's just, I don't know how to describe it. He's looking at something off screen with some sort of expression of shock, but it's not really shock. It's kind of almost a smile. And the strangeness of these expressions really highlights how Jim Davis isn't really in touch with the real world. He's so, his big business, his fame and fortune has led him to be isolated from his fellow man. Now, I know this is a bold claim to make, but you'll see more evidence to that subject later on. It's also a well-known fact supporting this is that Jim Davis, he kind of holds himself up in his home. He doesn't really, and he has a tremendous power too, but that can add to his isolation because people with power don't really get real friends. And sure, anyway, so in the background of these faces, these funny little guys, these funny little creatures, we see a crowd of people. But these crowd of people, they all kind of look the same. 3, 4, no, 5 or 6, they all look like John. And this further adds to the isolation. Because although it seems like there's this huge crowd that's cheering Jim Davis on, cheering Garfield on, in reality, he doesn't really have that much of a connection to them. They're all projections of his mind, therefore being John. Now, I'm currently playing a game right now. I don't know if you can see it in your telepathic projections or whatever, but in either way, I'm going to select the one with the gaping mouth. Now, the game starts out with the first level, the house. Everything seems normal, but then we get transported to the scene with a picture of a storybook. There's a frog there. With a microphone, and the text reads, "One morning, Garfield was reading from a storybook. There once lived a frog named Freddy. Freddy was the first creature to ever be funny. Creatures came from far and wide to drink the water from Freddy's magical pond because they thought the water made him funny." And then we have pictures of little bears, creatures, very, very zany cartoon creatures here, drinking this water. But then something odd is that in the background, to the side there's Freddy, and he's got this mischievous, almost like smug grin. It's unsettling, really. And we'll get to that later. But anyway, I think this story represents how, as a person, Jim Davis, he's always been trying to catch that well, that pond. And he saw these other creators, represented by the frog, these other comic book creators making stuff that people loved, that people thought was really funny. And he wanted to also be funny, obviously, because he was making a comic himself. So he metaphorically drank from the pond by employing the same tactics they used. And just like how drinking from the pond overlooks what actually made the frog Freddy funny, Jim Davis only picked out the shallow elements of these comics. The slapstick, the recurring nature of the jokes. Despite, I mean, when he did this, he didn't really take into consideration what actually made them funny. And that ties back into why the Freddy has such an expression on his face in the next panel. Because Jim Davis sees these other comic book creators, like the guy who created Calvin Hobbes, who look down on him. They despise him. He doesn't have any respect in the comic book industry. The creator of Peanuts, comic strip that Garfield, the creator of Garfield, very much looked up to. He was like on an interview with a representative for Paws Inc. or something like that. I don't think it was Paws Inc. But once he knew that like they wouldn't be talking to the creator of Garfield, Jim Davis, in the same kind of like thing, he was relieved. And this kind of just goes to show how everyone just hated him. And this, like, the expression ties in this because the smug, like, evil expression of it is how Jim Davis sees the rest of the world. They're against him. Now, the next panel of this, John... well, let me get this. John called from the kitchen, "Garfield, Odie, breakfast." Garfield closed the book, and he and Odie dashed into the kitchen. At breakfast that morning, Garfield, John, and Odie talked about their routines for the upcoming Fun Fest. Now, the Fun Fest is a very broad concept. It could mean a lot of things. But I think in this case, Jim Davis is trying to make a point with the Fun Fest that the Fun Fest actually represents the outside world as a whole. The events and places that people want to be, the social obligations of other people around him. He's disconnected from all that, and he doesn't see the point of it. And this is shown by how Garfield just doesn't seem to care about this Fun Fest that John and Odie are so engrossed in. He portrays him as almost moronic. While Garfield, obviously, in the comics, he's supposed to be the smart one, so... And then we get into actual gameplay, the meat of the story. And you have a few buttons you can press, abilities you can do. But one thing you notice immediately is that there's an energy bar for Garfield, and it's just slowly running out. I think this represents how, since he's not accustomed to them anymore, social events just tire Jim Davis out. He doesn't like have any fun from it anymore, and he's running around and doing stuff, but he doesn't. You know what? I'm gonna be honest here. I'm just completely run out of things to say. I am tired. So, I would have liked to run this gag on for a little bit longer, but I don't think I can. Not without like just it being painful for both of us. So that's it. That's it.
All right, we're letting the Mulkmen play a little bit early, and let's go into the stage. Go.
We're filming this as a video, as well as audio. Find it on YouTube later, if you so desire. And now we're recording on Audacity as well, so that's good. Anywho, now that you guys are all here and we're all situated, we're all ready to go. All right, without further ado, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good riddance.
Good supper.
Good riddance, good supper. We are the
Mulkmen!
My name is T. Marty. You?
My name is Bullhorn.
Bullhorn?
I'm
Unguitarded.
John. I'm a guitarded one.
And then we got over here?
Big Beef.
Big Beef. Alright, and our first song that we will be performing for you guys is by the Violent Femmes. Yeah, you know, Halloween's not over yet. It's only November 17th. There's still plenty of time. So, we thought we would keep the Halloween energy going and play a nice little song for you guys called Country Death Song. So, without further ado, let's get started. I had me a wife, I had me some daughters. I tried so hard, I never knew still waters. Nothing to eat and nothing to drink. Nothing for a man to do but sit around and think. Nothing for a man to do but sit around and think. I'm a-thinking and a-thinking till there's nothing I ain't thunk. Breathing in the stink till finally I stunk. It was at that time I swear I lost my mind. I started making plans to kill my own kind. I started making plans to kill my own kind. Come, little daughter, I said, the youngest one, put your coat on, we'll have some fun. We'll go out to mountains, the one to explore. Her face then lit up, I was standing by the door. Her face then lit up, I was standing by the door. Come, little daughter, I will carry the lanterns. We'll go out tonight, we'll go to the caverns. We'll go out tonight, we'll go to the caves. Kiss your mother goodnight, and remember that God saves. Kiss your mother goodnight, and remember that God saves. I led her to a hole, a deep black well. I said, make a wish, make sure not tell. And close your eyes, dear, and count to 7. You know your papa loves you, good children go to heaven. You know your papa loves you, good children go to heaven. I gave her a push, I gave her a shove. I pushed with all my might, I pushed with all my love. I threw my child to a bottomless pit. She was screaming as she fell, but I never heard her hit. She was screaming as she fell, but I never heard her hit. Thank you. That was one of my favorite songs from my childhood. My dad showed me that song much too young, but I still love it. And next up, we got a song by Big Beef himself. This song is called
Insect Medic.
Alrighty then.
legs, a head of steel. 2 wings, a nice thing to feel. My life is for their taking. So excited, my body's shaking. I offer myself in times of need. For their survival, I am the seed. Wanted now, I can't keep them waiting. For it's the human race that they're hating. I'm an insect medic, I always will be. Insect medic, the way it should be. Insect medic, down to the bone. Insect medic, many skills to hone. Running low, the time bomb will tick. Open your mind and make it stick. Critters and pinchers, they are your friend. Slender on insects, we must amend. Bring them inside and give them warmth. Family of 3, they are your 4th. Keep them alive so the earth is shining. There you go, now your brain is refining. I'm an insect medic, I care for them all. Insect medic, just give me a call. Insect medic, spread it with all your love. Insect medic, message from above. Rebirth, they are forever young. Make them angry and you will be stung. Do not raise your hand in malice. Let them return to the nested palace. Coexistence, it is a must. To be with nature, we will gain their trust. Our endless greed is humiliating. For the ones we keep eliminating. I'm an insect medic, I always will be. Insect medic, the way it should be. Insect medic, spread it with all your love. Insect medic, message from above. The time has come before the world is soiled. Now the time has come. Reconcile heaven and
Alright, everyone, give it up for our man on percussion, Big Beef. Up next, I have a little special treat. I like King Arthur a lot. We all know who Merlin is. Merlin the magician, you know, he's King Arthur's court wizard. Well, you know, Merlin was based on a Welsh folk tale. His name was Myrddin Wilt, Merlin the Wild, and his story is he was pretty much a guy who saw battles, so carnage, you know, all that shit. He went nuts. He ran into the forest, and he lost his mind. You know, he lives with the animals, he eats berries and shit, and pretty much he became a prophet, a poet, and a madman. So, a story we can all aspire, you know, to relate to and everything. So, here in Historia Regum Britanniae, you know, made in the 12th century by Geoffrey of Monmouth, I have the prophecies of Merlin, and you know, I think a lot of what is written here today is still quite relevant, and I'm putting on my little beard and hat right now for the video. I know you guys can't see it. I look fucking great. And now, I will share to you some of Merlin's wise words, and I hope you heed them well. The feet of those that bark shall be cut off! Wild animals shall enjoy peace, but mankind will bewail the way in which it is being punished. Their balance of trade shall be torn in half, and the half that is left shall be rounded off. Pikes will lose their ravenous hunger, and the teeth of wolves shall be blunted. The lion's cubs shall be transformed into saltwater fish, and the eagle of Mount Aravaria shall set and nest upon its summit. Benedocia shall be red with the blood of mothers, and the house of Coroneus will slaughter our 6 brothers! So, I think a lot of that's still relevant today, and you know, that's a lot of wisdom right there. It's a big part of the book. There are a lot more prophecies in there for you to enjoy. But, you know, I'm getting kind of tired of English. It's kind of a boring language. Ora, Big Beef-san, Nihongo de utaimasu ka?
Nihongo hanashimasen yo.
No, daijoubu, daijoubu. Ganbarimasu. Here, kora, utaimasu.
橋の上に吐き出すよしごと辛い開口上り坂の水日本語勉強しなかったささないでください下り坂の水本当本当本当いつも毎日賭博をするなぜならとても来る車でコンビニ行くポケットに500円私の魂は断片だけだホットドッグホットドッグ
Thank you everybody for listening. Our album Liquid Insanity is coming out this winter. We have a SoundCloud where you guys can get some sneak peeks of some of the tracks in progress, and I hope you all had a lovely time. Yeah.
I was a big hater until the Jesus song. The Jesus song when we were...
That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. That was amazing.
It really won me back.
Good stuff. Okay, so piggybacking off of that kind of momentum, we have not with the fucking Waffle House. We're going directly back onto the stage. Mermaid is ready. Is Mermaid? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
That's the kind of enthusiasm I like to hear.
Yeah.
Can we get a round of applause for Mermaid?
Woo! Thanks. I really hope it works. This is a true story. I actually wrote this, I think, like 2 years ago, and my original intent was to make it into an animation, but I never really got around to it. So instead, I'm going to perform it for all of you. And here we go. I believe, with the possibility and even probability of multi-dimensions and universes, that strange things can and do happen. Yet our current technology limits our understanding and ability to explain these occurrences. Sometimes we have to trust ourselves in the face of a world which dismisses things beyond our understanding. We've become so preoccupied with our own narrow ideologies, paradigms, and disillusionment, with our egotistical ability to form matter so that we may live in comfort. And as a result, we've forgotten that amidst all this strain to forever try to understand how we should live, we still don't truly know what exactly it is we're living for. Everyone has a story that reminds us to ask these sort of questions. This is a story about ducks. I love ducks. They are second to none on my list of favorite animals. I think my love and fascination must have stemmed from that movie Fly Away Home, which I watched as a little kid. Do you remember that movie? I remember feeling so much pure fascination and love when that little girl hatched those eggs under the electric blanket. I know the movie was about geese, but irregardless of species, I became enchanted by the idea of imprinting and developed a healthy obsession for knowledge about ducks, geese, swans, and their social behavior. Because of this, my father made a valiant attempt to hatch eggs he and I found by a pond, but it proved unsuccessful. Information on the internet back then was sparse, and it was difficult to find DIY duck hatching instructions. We gave up after that, and I sullenly put my dream behind me. For some time after, I found myself distracted by the many unique hardships that life tends to throw at us, and I very nearly forgot my aspiration to become the proud mother of a brood of waterfowl. Then, my sweet 16s rolled around. By this time, I had owned every single animal that you could imagine, other than ducks, of course. Everything from red-eared sliders to iguanas to snakes, cats, parakeets, hamsters. I really have an affinity for animals. There's something superbly profound to be experienced when you develop your intuition in order to understand other species of animals. Personally, I feel that in learning how they experience the world, I can gain a better understanding of all the infinite facets of life from every different perspectives. My pets at the time were Zora, a 50-pound boxer lab, and Ridgeback mix, and a 55-gallon tank which housed my two fancy goldfish, Moss and Roy. We had moved in with my stepdad and mom and made it clear that he didn't want any more animals in the house. Being the predictably defiant teenager I was, it wasn't long after that I caught a wild hair at my ass that screamed an antithesis. See, I had recently gotten a decent-paying job in the not-so-decent world of food service, and I couldn't tell you why, but I felt that nearly forgotten feeling creeping over me once again. That old familiar longing which had haunted me my entire childhood. The need to hatch and raise two ducks. The intense obsession festered in the back of my mind for a few days after, and I became so damn determined that I was willing to go behind my mother's back. It's better than doing drugs, I suppose. Luckily, this time, a more modern version of the internet was at my disposal. I researched everything from duck care to the proper temp and humidity for egg incubation. Since I couldn't afford a fancy incubator, I opted for this cheap plastic one I found on eBay. It was the kind made for classrooms and educational purposes as a demonstration showcasing the wonders of developing embryos. Because of its flimsy and cheap nature, this particular type of incubator is extremely tricky. In fancier incubators, there's usually a rack which turns the eggs and a self-adjusting monitor for temperature and humidity regulation. The success rate of my incubator, since I had to turn the eggs manually 7 times a day and regulate the temperature and humidity myself, was about 50%. After the incubator arrived in the mail, a package which I had to stealthily time the arrival of so I could avoid any sort of questions for my parents that would blow my cover. The next step was to buy my eggs from a local duck farmer I found on Craigslist. As I pulled up in my car, he walks up to me from inside his barn with a carton full of 12 differently colored eggs and tells me he believes they're all freshly laid and fertile. As my palms sweat in anticipation, I picked out 2 of the best-looking eggs. It takes 28 days of incubation for most ducks to hatch. So 28 days I began to endure. I sang, played my guitar, and left classical music on for them when I left for school and work. I talked to them softly as I sat with them under my loft and behind my closed door. My dream slowly manifesting itself as it slipped under the radar of my diligent parents. During my research, I found that for many birds, it's theorized that the bonding process begins before the babies even hatch. Simply by hearing the mother's voice, a mother duck will softly talk to her eggs as she rotates them, making a little wah 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 sound. Wah, wah, wah. I'm not sure if they were bonding with me behind those delicate porcelain capsules, but I knew that even before they hatched, I felt a powerful connection beginning to form. I worked hard at my daily routine of spray water, turn egg, spray water, turn egg, open the lid a crack, close the lid a crack, log the temperatures and candle them before bed to check for abnormalities. It was inevitable that my stepdad and mother eventually found out, wondering why their teenage daughter would rush to her bedroom after school every day to spend hours in a locked room whispering to herself. Although I faced a stern talking to, I'm very fortunate that my mom has a soft spot for animals. She's always been aware of my intense love and obsession for ducks. After her initial rage, caused by my blatant lying and sneaking around behind her back, died down, she was able to talk my stepdad into having a change of heart. They agreed upon compromise that as long as I paid for everything and was solely responsible for every single part of the duck's care, I would be allowed to keep them. Not long after, they both found themselves wanting to be involved with the entire hatching process. As the highly anticipated day approached, the whole family bonded over the miracle of developing life. 28 long and labor-intensive days finally came to an end, and despite the odds stacked against me, both of the eggs had developed completely. They were right on schedule, arriving precisely on the day I had marked in my calendar. This was the day the ducklings pipped, which meant they successfully broke a tiny hole through the shell, beginning the long, arduous process of chipping away at the remaining circumference. Though I had planned nearly a month for this, I had prior obligations playing drum set in the pit of a production of Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. During the intermission, I received the text from my mom. They had split their eggs in 2 and were resting before their last push to freedom. For the second half of the performance, I tried to focus despite myself. On the ride home, I must have been going 20 over the speed limit, as time blurred, dilated, and condensed. And after what seemed like both seconds and a lifetime, I suddenly caught up to myself as I ran through our front door. To this day, I'm so grateful that my mom had recognized the special moment for me. So my mom has recorded the special moment for me to cherish forever. The family wanted to stay longer and spend time with them, but I was so overwhelmed that I frustratedly rushed everyone out of my room. The moment I had dreamt about my entire childhood, where I alone could spend the first moments on Earth with ducklings I had incubated, had finally become my reality. The time I spent caring for them was amazingly fulfilling. I learned so many important lessons as the adoptive mother of 2 tiny, innocent, and helpless balls of fluff. But alas, as babies are wont to do, my ducklings grew at an incredibly fast rate, and with them grew the size of their shits. It is known that birds, although largely intelligent, cannot be potty trained for any length of time because, unlike mammals, birds aren't mammals, they lack a sphincter muscle. which in this context means they are unable to control their colon. I bet I just made you clench your butthole. It's okay, we're all very curious about our bodies. In addition to being unable to control their buttholes, birds, as I'm sure you all may know, poop a lot. The amount of duck defecation was growing out of control. I'd find piles in places I didn't even know they had access to. And unfortunately, I wasn't the only one finding their little surprises. Finally, my mom and stepdad decided that I needed to build a pen for them outside. Though I had mastered the art of picking up animal shit at an early age, at that time I had absolutely no experience with pen building. So yet again, I turned to the internet and researched as much as I could. In total, the materials cost me about $200 of my hard-earned money, graciously afforded to me by my excruciatingly soul-sucking boss. Over the next few days, I worked out in the yard by light and night, doing the best I could with my stepdad's tools, some help from my brother, and my own perseverance. And as I stood back to take a look, I was proud of myself, something I did not feel often, as depression and anxiety tend to rob you of those moments. I couldn't believe that I had made their new home actually halfway decent. I certainly made sure it was as large as possible, and I surrounded it entirely with chicken wire in an effort to keep out any predators that may be looking for a quick quack snack. So, if so inclined, one could enter and exit through a latchable hinge door to protect them. To protect them from the harsh Florida environments, I constructed a little shingle-roofed shelter. The thing I was certainly the most excited about was the inclusion of a large plastic kiddie pool I had bought for them to gallivant around in. Naturally, they loved being outside, and they loved being in the water. They were old enough now to secrete their own oil, which they spread by preening their feathers. You see, young ducklings don't secrete oil until they begin to grow their adult feathers. This oil, which keeps them waterproof, is provided by their mother until they're old enough. Without this oil, their feathers saturate with water and they become waterlogged, and are in very serious danger of sinking and drowning. Obviously, I don't secrete duck oil, so up until that point, I had to be very careful when allowing them to bathe in our bathtub. Though I wasn't as proficient of a duck mother as, say, a mother duck, for all intents and purposes, they were my children. I named the black and brown female duck Anser and the large white male pekin duck Uku. If you've played Twilight Princess, you may remember that Uku is the name of the half-chicken, half-human you find in the dungeons. If anyone ever tells you that the loyalty and connection of a dog to a human is unmatched, I want you to know that the person has just fed you some grade A bullshit. Although I'm a very devoted fan of canines and having adopted a few in my life since then, I still assert that bonding and imprinting with waterfowl is nature's most miraculous and best-kept secret side quests. They grew accustomed to their new life outside, and every day after school I'd run out to their pen, all the while calling out, "Ducks! Ducks!" to which they'd respond with a little happy duck noise. A noise not so much of a quack as a soft, excited I routinely let them out, and I'd sit down on the grass, and they would waddle into my lap, demanding to be pet by gently nibble-kissing me with their precious beaks. About 3 weeks passed like this, and every day I spend with them is more enjoyable than the last. Their final adult feathers were almost fully grown in, and they looked as beautiful as ever. The bond we shared with each other still goes unmatched to this day. Unfortunately, it seems that life's most precious moments are often the quickest fleeting. One very early morning on a school day, though one might argue it could have been called the middle of the night, I awoke to the sound of Zora barking. Zora loved the ducks as well, and vigilantly protected them when we spent time together in the backyard. I think seeing a dog play with ducks is the cutest, not quite so naturally occurring thing you could witness. I run to the door to see that my mom had already let Zora out. She told me,
"Honey, you might want to go check on the ducks. Zora just chased something into the woods."
That was the moment my heart plummeted into my stomach. I hesitantly and slowly began walking towards their pen, which was just outside of my field of vision. I yell out, "Ducks!" hoping to God that I would hear their usual cheerful response. No answer. "Ducks! Ducks!" I frantically screamed. Silence. I already knew what had happened before I got to the pen. And as I walked up, I noticed a smattering of feathers scattered across the ground. I reluctantly forced myself to glance in the direction of the kiddie pool, while tears had begun to cloud my vision. Owing this to my fortune, the water had been muddied enough to where I couldn't make out anything below the surface. It was tinged the dark red of cherries. The stench of death and blood was in the air. I immediately knew that smell from years of having owned reptiles, and frequently and humanely thumping their feeder mice. Yes, thumping a mouse is exactly what you think it is. Owing my terrible eyesight genes for what I was spared that morning, I squinted as the scene unraveled itself in front of me. In the pool, floating gently in the red murk, lay Uku's lifeless body, the tail and hind side bobbing up and down like a buoy. Anser was nowhere in sight. I collapsed to the floor, screaming louder than I ever had. My mom ran out, and as I sprinted past her, pushing her aside, I rushed into my room. We stayed home from school that day. The whole family cried, but I was a wreck. I refused to leave my room, save for using the restroom. I wouldn't eat, and I didn't talk to anyone, not even my brother. There has never been a time before or since then where I cried nonstop for an entire day. I slept and bawled and then fell back asleep and woke up again and cried myself back to sleep. My mom waited for my stepdad to return from work before they dealt with the bodies, since she couldn't bear to do it on her own. Now that you've come with me this far, you may be relieved to hear that this is where the trauma of that day ends, and the supernatural part of my story begins. That night, I had a dream far more vivid and palpable than a typical dream. I knew this feeling. I dreamt this feeling frequently as a child, as I would float from out of my body and expand my awareness into the far reaches of the infinite cosmos, exploring other realms. The dream I had that night went like this. I'm in this strange room, and there's a chimney. The space where the wood normally goes is as tall and wide as a human. The opening was big enough to walk through, as you would imagine a gate made of bricks would look. I approach the chimney, and a bright light flashes. Suddenly, standing there in the room, is Uku and Anser. They appear as tall as I am and begin approaching me ethereally. I soon notice something is a little off about their forms. The front half of Uku's beak is missing, the other half still firmly attached to the face. Anser's stomach was dented, concave if you will. It wasn't grotesque or gory, they were just missing parts, and there was an underwater-like calm about the experience. I apologized to them over and over and screamed to them that I'm so sorry, I should have built the cage better to keep stronger animals out. I say I'll take even better care of them if they just come back, if they just stay here with me and give me one more chance to do right by them. I say that I'm a bad person and feel guilty for not being extra careful with the cage. Though I'm crying, a feeling of calm again washes over me. It's as though my head is ringing with words, but no sound is coming from them. I am told that everything will be all right, that I'm loved, that they loved me. And in the end, that unconditional love and compassion is what is holding us all together. Love and compassion are the only forces produced by life that are truly able to span across individuals, cultures, species, and the entire cosmos. Then they let me know that it's time for them to leave, and they will be one with the entirety of everything again. Their atoms and cells and story recycled over and over across the time and space. It's all very peaceful. I screamed through tears that I love them, and as they exited the chimney in a flash of light, they were gone. The next night, I told my parents of the dream, about the missing beak and stomach, crying as I did so. When I mentioned this detail, my stepdad turned white. One thing about my stepdad is that he typically keeps his emotions well hidden, so when he's visibly shaken, you tend to pay attention. I asked why he reacted that way. Did they want me to stop talking about the dream? Was it too traumatic still for us to talk about? What he said next sent chills running through my body. I want to emphasize that this is not word for word, but it is best as I and he can remember. He said,
I didn't want to give you guys any details about the horrible things I saw, but when I pulled Oka's body out of the water, his beak had been bitten off. I walked a bit further toward the woods and found Answer's body laying by the tree line. Her stomach looked to be pulled out by whatever had gotten to them.
I looked at them both in shock. My mom is wide-eyed. No one talked about what they saw, as we were all still understandably very upset and shaken. For my dear, appreciated skeptics in the audience, I'd like to iterate a few things in closing. I have terrible eyesight without glasses. I can't read text a few feet from my face, let alone make out fine details from something that is more than 10 feet away. The water was extremely murky with blood and dirt, plus I obviously didn't stand around investigating. Also, I never walked past the pen. The woods are a long distance away, and there's just no way I saw Answer. No way. Now, I myself have a few logical explanations. One, my stepdad really did tell my mom, and I somehow heard him talk about it 3 rooms away with 2 doors closed while I was sleeping. My mind then created the dream as a coping mechanism for the trauma. Or, I did see Uku's beak subconsciously, but I swear up and down I didn't. I couldn't see anything past the water, and again, I have very poor eyesight. My brain deduced that Answer must have been eviscerated, since that is usually what predators will do to their prey before consuming them. But, despite my brain's floundering around for a logical explanation, something deeper, something in my heart, and however you want to think of a soul, knows that my ducks came to me before they left for good. They came to me one more time before they entered the great unknown and merged back into whatever we perceive as existence. And I felt our mutual and unconditional love as they left. A pure love that transcends time, space, and everything above and below. Uku and Answer, I think about you all the time. Even if, as many may argue, there's nothing beyond death, you will forever live on in my memories and through this story until the day this story is no longer shared. Thank you for listening. That's it.
Well done. Well, very well done. That was absolutely beautiful. Everybody into the lobby to give this woman a beautiful round of applause. Get in there.
I can't hear anybody.
Mermaid. Fucking Mermaid.
Well
Literally the
done.
best of us.
You're so good, Mermaid.
Chills.
Is that a real
Chills. That's not even sarcasm. Like,
Oh my
really,
God.
I didn't know if I could get through that.
That was fuck,
Oh.
dude. That was really
I'm sweating.
real.
I'm
Like
sweating.
I
That was
don't
too
listen. I don't listen to audio only skits a lot, like on the reg. But that was just something that I really have to say. I have no words for it. Just positivity.
Oh, Mermaid.
Thanks,
I
guys.
expected nothing than the best. This is exactly what I expected from you. Too
Thanks.
good. You're fucking good for us.
Oh, I love all of you.
I
Thank
can't
you.
believe where would I be right now if I missed that shit?
That was amazing. Even in my weary
One hand clap.
Awesome job.
My boyfriend's like in the background crying.
Oh, it's adorable.
I wouldn't accept anything less.
Wonderful.
for sharing.
I can't believe that's recorded. I'm gonna have.
Fuck that. Yeah, that was some of the most touching shit I've ever heard.
Oh my god, that's like the best thing in the whole freaking.
I have like 10 pages of ducks in my Google search history.
I wanted to add, wait, before I wanted to add, I have pictures. I wanted to add them as
Please show me that.
Okay, so here's the hatching.
Hey, where are you posting it? Post it in live.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my fucking god.
Wait,
Oh,
Look at him.
Here's them laying with me as I draw.
Oh.
And here's a screenshot from the video that my mom took of them hatching.
Oh wait, this was a. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have to animate that.
I want
yeah,
to.
that would be a really great.
It would take a lot of work.
Wholesome.
Oh Jesus.
It was and the sound effects that you added to it was just. I can't.
I spent a whole day looking for a free app that I could, but this one's actually really good.
The execution was just fucking well done. I can't even. Like I said, I really don't. I don't know what to say.
Oh, I have to give my brother credit. He wrote most of the music, and he's in this Discord as Manatee Man. He doesn't really ever talk, but yeah, my brother composed most of it.
Oh my god, this is like you've blown everybody else out of the water.
Did a good job.
This is like this is on a different level. This is like
You could not compare.
You guys so big.
That's like that would
I
be a
wouldn't
great.
mention an oboe going to someone's ass a single time, so I don't know how
That's like it would be really great for like
this
a,
is no oboe in the
children's
ass.
story time. That story has so much potential to be just a really good wholesome lesson to love and loss. You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to cut this Mermaid's glory.
How
short,
dare you!
I know, but we are running a little over time. So
Yeah, sorry it was so long.
No,
all right.
It was
don't apologize.
Not be Sully.
Dawn should be grateful.
Dawn, are you ready?
Dawn.
You can't top that.
I can't top it. I can't top it. I'm gonna do my damnedest to try.
It's not about competition. It's about collaboration.
That was fucking fantastic, and well, yeah. I guess I'm as ready as I'm gonna get.
All right.
Well, everybody into the stage for our last act, Dawn Haußettler.
All right, I'm gonna try. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope you've all been having as much fun as I. Not a dry eye in the house after that last one. But we got some laughs, some good stuff ahead of us. Because unlike last time, Dawn's breaking out some originals. And I'm really excited to share them all with you. Hold on. What the fuck? Daughter! Take 5!
No, sir. You all know who I am. I'll tell you right now, in case you don't get the memo. I'm Humpback Chub. And right here we got my dubious cops. Yeah. On drums we got Sticky Thomas. Yeah. He got the rhythm down and he's sticking to it. On guitar we got Fast Fingered Eddie. And we may not be the nicest sight, but he's got hands that never rest when presented with a long, hard block of wood. And on bass, we got Quiet Low. Because there ain't no fucking bass in this school of fucking fish. So class is in session. And the first one we got is a call to fins. Hit it, Tom. The minutes on the hour are tick, tick, ticking on. Ticking me the fuck off. Between Angels Youth and Disco Men, I take the devil's elevator music, cause there ain't no disco for swinging dicks with big gills. Looks like the fumigator made his way in, cause there ain't no spiders in this trap. The scent of slow pine cones, like meteorites on your lamb's ears. They're shielded along poles on your pots and pans. Lips looking a little droopy, but you look so cool doing it. The switch Malunka has been flushed down for good. The Milkmen dropped a U-bomb in the last of it all. The tumor has given itself a name. We call this mass the loud state of Jones. Call up H.R. Bring it up, shrink. I'm feeling pretty low. This unlawful land of beach mermaids, lawful looking flourish, got your technicolor yard with full heave. Your stars and candy bars, pocketed by black hole gypsies, cosmetic, modified limited hangouts with a sweet tooth. Got one skull on your stubby ballpark brakes. Avian don't shriek a ho-ho. Beaks like magma, nipping at heels and breadcrumbs. Which duck is on first? Red blood they float. The marquee has crumbled. Crumbs on the ticket stand. Godspeed and snack tyranny. Father figures with a face you can't make out, so we just call them low. Bozo sent the clones in to stand this brotherly love in three-part dissonance. But fucking yogi, yo gap, what's caught your sack? Look down your own tube, Joker. This fish has got a taste for blood. A lighthouse is up ahead. Its light is out, but its shaft is long and unforgivably hard. Won't you crash ashore with me? Won't you crash ashore with me? Won't you crash ashore with me? Take 5, dick boy. No room for showboats. What the fuck did I say? Anyway, he's gonna be taking a lap just for everyone's sake. So, this next one's just gonna be me and sticky, Thomas. So I hope you don't mind if it gets a little bit beefy. This next one is called A Mortgage on a Mortuary. A mortgage on a white picket fence round a mortuary. My cesspool estuary. You've got cold horseradish on the brain. More like the embarrassed aftermath of a ruptured nut. Caught on the gate. Same time next week. Wear a bib or stay the fuck home. Sea cucumbers and couch cushions won't take your seed like they used to. Can't use the chain link to brush your teeth. Looking for a deep upward root canal. Looking for the clean dresser drawers beneath these gills. You rolled your mental ankles in the lawn. Better back yourself up. Call a cab. This check is gonna be a post-dated payment. A post-dated payment on a mortgage on a mortuary. Yeah. I hope you're all having a good time. I know I am. I know I am. Say, you think we got another one like that, Thomas? You think we got another... No! You never let me start the song! I never let you start the... Actually, you're right, Eddie. I never let you start the song. Why don't you, start the next one off for us? Sorry, he's kind of a charity case. We do the best with what we got, but, he don't really have it these days. So let's take pity on him. Sorry. 1 second. Thomas, give me the pills. I need the pills! Oh, that just gets me right angry. Right fucking angry. That fucking weak. That fucking shrimp. Fucking baby. Fucking baby.
That is a ringtone.
Eddie! My baby Eddie! Where have you gone? Gone to hold the river, but the river betrayed you like it did me, Eddie! Give me that jagged lip jaw, that unfurled left eye, to the right of the left one. More like to you, Eddie! Make a poor boy fast, make it slow! Make your strings into rings, but if you never watch your thing, you fuck your hand and sober up, dick boy Eddie. Find your own way home, cause this shit can down the tubes is mine alone.
Is he gone?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, everyone. I had this whole thing planned out. We're gonna have like just fun. I was gonna play some songs. I was gonna do Nothing Is Forever. The motherfuckers broke my guitar. This is just fucking horrible. That fish man. I don't know how the fuck he does that. Oh, he's on the floor right now. I mean, he's just so mean. He's like my father. He just always yells. He's mean. He doesn't understand. Not like you do. Not like we do. Oh, foreign part, don't understand things. Moment, my friends. This one has me a little emotional. It's about something close to my heart. Just give me a second. That is a lot of pain. By the way, this is Miss Haußettler, everybody. It's my special guest. Everyone say hi to Miss Haußettler. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's
Nice
the
to
song.
have
I'm
you
sorry.
here.
Let me just. I'll get back on track. Okay. You ready, honey? Oh, no, that's not right. What the fuck? That's weird. Why is that like that? I must have heard me smash the dummy and it didn't like it. It's okay, sweetie. Back in business. All right, now we're back in business. Ready? Yes. Oh, don't understand feelings. Oh, foreign poppers don't understand feelings. Not like we do. Flu shots. Oh, they can't be bricks. They created mind shots. Oh, they won't let our love be free, 'cause they're from a different country. Don't understand feelings. Our foreign poppers don't understand feelings. No, they don't. Not like we do. Not like we do. Not like we do. Ooh, not like we do. Not like we do. Not like we Thank you, everyone. No, thank you. It's been fantastic. Happy
Well,
open
awesome.
mics in the can.
All right, another one for the books.
Back to the lobby.
Into the lobby, everybody. Into the lobby. We gotta give them a round of applause. A real round of applause.
Oh!
Wow. Wow, Don. Good
Well
job.
done. That was real nice.
Fuck yeah, done.
That was a fucking roller coaster, man.
There was a taste of everything in that.
Even
was a
Big
journey,
Boss
man.
is here.
God damn,
So
last
much.
two acts were amazing.
Yes. I mean, the last one was. I'm not going to say that. I'm not.
Good
That
job.
was
Okay.
fucking epic.
Oh, that was epic.
What you all made me do when I did for
That was epic. It's fucking-
I'm like
sacrificial lamb. I think lamb
I
takes
quite enjoyed that guitar solo as well earlier on.
Yeah,
Don't you
that
break
was
your
all
guitar?
fantastic. I can't believe it just went as well as it did. That was just all y'all
Good
came
job,
together
everyone.
and you made it. You made it.
That's great.
It was great.
Ooh, Yeah.
Oh.
Quick shout out to
Well,
Crumbles for organizing the whole thing. I can't.
Orgasm.
That's the stage director.
Oh, you actually break your fucking guitar.
Yeah, that was real nice.
So nice. That's incredible. God damn, guys. Well, I mean, we had to scramble there in the second at the end, but
Have you got insurance on that guitar?
It's okay. I know an insurance guy.
You know a guitar insurance guy?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's incredible. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you all on the next open mic.
Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, good night.
Let me get your all immensely talented.